Well, hey friends, welcome back. I am so glad you're here. Today I thought it would be fun if we just went ahead and did some Christmas crafts. I am also wanting to do a little bit of foraging and possibly put together a fall floral arrangement for my table. Okay, let me just save us all some time because this intro is completely irrelevant. What I thought was allergies causing me to feel a bit under the weather ended up being something much more, which I will talk about a little bit later. But all of the things that I tell you right here in this original introductory is absolutely trash because it ended up not happening. So I am just super glad that you're here. I do want to talk a little bit about the reality of creative homemaking versus necessary homemaking. Not that creative isn't necessary, but because it is so hard when you're a creative person like I am to find the balance between actually getting the housekeeping done around the home, keeping things in order, and making sure that systems are running properly. I just wanted to touch a little bit on that because I was experiencing that tension as I filmed the intro of this video. I was really having a hard time because all that I wanted to do is be creative. I was tired from doing all the things, but I really wanted to do something that was a little bit more mentally restful at the time. And I find that to be the case often. Let me just clarify. But I also recognize that there is a time and a place, and that I am fully blessed with the responsibilities and roles that I get to take on and accomplish every single day. And this is exactly what I've wanted to do for a very long time. So even though it's not what I wanted to do in the exact moment, there is still such purpose in the more administrative, the more productive tasks. And I just wanted to say, for any other creative homemakers out there, if you struggle with this tension, I feel you. You know, there's just not enough time in the day for all of it to be perfect all the time. So I think that there is definitely a fine line and there's a balance between how often we put everything on hold in order to have that mental rest, as well as, you know, these are the jobs that we've signed up to do. And at the end of the day, we need to make sure that we're taking care of the things that have been entrusted to us. So for me, the ways that I kind of try to manage that is I always try to make sure that I at least have a plan for dinner. Even if I don't have dinner cooking or meat thawing or whatever it is, I just try to make sure that we at least have something in mind that we can throw together for dinner. And then I also try to always have one load of laundry going each day. People have different opinions on that, but my most preferred method, at least for this season of life, is one load a day. And then I also try, run the dishwasher once a day. Also, one of the biggest things that I would point out is having grace and asking the people that you're sharing a home with and serving to have grace as well. So that's probably the biggest thing, especially if you are doing as I am. I mean, any type of like homemaker role comes with much responsibility, but especially if you're also working part-time or full-time and you just are wearing a lot of hats, like it's not meant for us to do every single thing all the time. And just as I experienced in the recent weeks, if I do not take breaks for myself, then my body will force me to. It will make sure that it gets the rest that it needs, and it's not going to come at a time when it's ideal. So it's better for me to just be proactive versus reactive. If I take small breaks throughout the day or over time, then it's much better than having to be out of commission for several days on end in order for my body to get the rest that it needs. Okay, so last we talked, it was about a week ago. I laid down to take a nap, and here I am a solid 6 days later. I have not been this sick in a while, and it just came out of nowhere. Apparently, it was not allergies. It wasn't anything that they were able to diagnose, but it wasn't anything viral either. I tried to let my own body kind of take care of the infection and just combat it with a lot of rest and herbal teas and like lukewarm showers or baths whenever I was having a fever. and the fever just kept climbing and climbing, and nothing was working. I've had this like crazy amount of pressure and tightness in my chest, and they say that my lungs sound clear. It's just a whole bunch of inflammation. So I've never had it, but it sounded a lot like walking pneumonia, and I was fully expecting them to tell me that that's what it was when I went into the doctor, but they said that my lungs sounded clear. This was also like on day 3 of symptoms. So the fever had not yet started, and then once it kicked in, it lasted for like 4 days. So I don't know if maybe it was just too early to receive that diagnosis, or if it was something of its own. But either way, it has been rough. And with that being said, I'm very thankful to be sitting upright in my bed. The course of this vlog is probably going to change a little bit. I still really want to do some creative things. Some of those things are for Christmas. I just still don't have a ton of lung capacity. So when I get to doing a little bit too much, I really start to feel it. I did pick up some ornaments last week, and I want to try, this could go very badly, but I want to try and do some hand painted ornaments that maybe kind of look a little bit ceramic. I hope they don't look like they're super cheap, but we'll see. And if not, you know, there's like tons of ornaments in this pack that I got for like $7 or $8. So if not, we'll just put them on the tree as they are. We'll try a couple first though. I also am starting to get some Christmas presents that I've ordered and my wrapping papers that I've ordered. So maybe we'll do a little wrap with me. I'm sorry that this didn't turn out the way that I had hoped for it to. I had so many things that I was seeking to accomplish. But either way, I am just going to continue taking you along with me now that I'm kind of back up and running. I am in the middle of a lot of laundry today. We do not have school today. We are out in recognition of Veterans Day. It's not typically a holiday that we get. I think that the county schools, so we're a half-day preschool, and we just follow the county school calendar. And I think that the county schools are out because it's a teacher work day. Only students are out. But at the preschool, we don't have teacher work days per se, other than like pre-planning. So we all got today off, but it's a huge blessing in disguise. Working with pre-K and all of this, it was probably not helping me last week to overcome whatever this was before it got as bad as it did. So I'm very grateful for the extra day of rest, the extra day at home with my girls, and the extra day to just knock some things out in a peaceful and restful way.
So I want to get it.
Oh my gosh, so fun. Zip it. Time.
Why are we this?
We're going to color ornaments.
How was I get some? I have to do these.
You can do those. I'm going to do all of these. You just let me have these, and you can have any of the others, okay?
Wait for me.
One of the reasons that I've come to love a slow living lifestyle so very much, there are many reasons, but one of the top reasons by far is because it actually allows us to adjust our daily schedule when we are feeling a little under the weather or just a little bit more weary physically than normal. And I do not ever want to take for granted that we have that opportunity. It is a bit more challenging since we are not home for the mornings. Our mornings are very busy from about 5:30 in the morning until 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It is like pedal to the metal, full force. We are going. So then when we get home in the afternoon, we crash hard. And I have no regrets about that. I will say that sometimes it's a little difficult to get back up and going for like the evening chores or anything that we need to go out and do in the evening. But our bodies need that, you know, and I just think that it has become so hard for us to wrap our minds around that because of the unnecessary pressure to constantly be busy or to constantly be going and doing things, whether that's put on us from outside, from society, from our culture, from whatever it may be, or whether that's an expectation that we unnecessarily are putting on ourselves by taking on too many things, or just assuming that we need to be doing something all the time. But you know, something that I've realized, especially now that my girls are a little bit older and kind of out of the, like, their immune systems have been built up enough, I hope, and I think that, you know, we don't just bring home every bug or every sickness that floats around school. Like, I can genuinely tell that it is when our lives are the busiest, that's when our immune systems take the hardest hits. That's when we start to feel much worse. And it's just very evident. All of this came on the heels of a super busy holiday week. Through the week of Halloween, we had something almost every single night, an event that we were going to, a trunk or treat, a festival, a something that we were either involved in leading or just going to attend because it was fun and we had personal ties to that event. Or like during the mornings all day at school, we had Spirit Week. So we had something all week long. In the afternoons, where we usually catch our rest, even if we have evening activities, we were busy getting stuff ready for whatever we were going to do that night. And there was just a lot to it. There was also a lot of rushed meal times and later evenings, not getting in bed quite as early, but then having to get up just as early for the next day. And so it's not a secret to me, based on the patterns that I've seen, at least within my own home, that the more we pack our calendars full, the more that we take on in a short amount of time, the more likely it is that we are going to have a very difficult time recovering from that without having to do some serious, I don't know, I guess you could call it self-care, but that term is so whatever, that like we are going to pay for it on the back end if we do not pace ourselves. And I know some people can just constantly go and that does not faze them. I'm not sure how that's possible. Like, I don't know if that's just, there's a handful of people in the world that are just wired that way, and I mean, their bodies just don't need sleep or rest. It baffles me, honestly. And part of me is so jealous because I'm like, man, if I could function like that, just think of all the things that I could accomplish. But for me personally, I also just recognize it as a way that the Lord uses to remind me that I'm not in control of all the things, and that the world is going to continue spinning even if I take an hour or two in the afternoon to sit down. So while this was not at all what I had planned for this week's video, I mean, it kind of is, but not exactly. I am honestly very grateful for this slowdown that I was forced to have, especially going into a busy holiday season. I hope that this is a good reminder for myself and for my home, as well as for anyone watching this, that slow and steady wins the race, and that especially as holiday calendars fill up, we should be selective about the things that we commit to in order to be able to run the race well, in order to be able to enjoy all that this season has to offer, and just be very, very present physically, emotionally, mentally, and truly just be able to savor where the Lord has us in this season. I hope that by spending a little bit of time here with me today, you feel refreshed, and I hope you're having a great day wherever you're at. I'll catch you next time. Bye, guys.